Today I want to do a quick video here, doing some internet speed testing here with my iPhone 5S.
Captain America needs my help.
That was epic.
I can make it epic.
But
Trippy.
Anyway, I upgraded to the 50 meg speed, and then I checked I did a speed test, and I'm like, well, it really only bumped me from 25 to 30. So I got looking at my modem specs online, and my modem's only rated to handle like 30 meg speed. So I have 50 meg speed, but I can't actually use it because my modem caps out at 30. And I think ever since I changed it to 50 meg, like my internet will overload like it used to. You remember like what it used to do at the apartment, John, when we'd be playing WoW or whatever, and then like all of a sudden it would just cut, and we'd have to recycle everything, and it was doing that because they cut the cable thing wrong. But I think it's doing that now because it's overloading my modem.
I think you.
It only happens like once every couple of days, though.
I think you watch too much of that prawn.
Download too much prawn.
That's a big bitch.
Other problem I have is I think my room.
He doesn't deny it. No, other problem I have.
The other problem I have is I think my roommate. At this point, I just don't deny things. It wastes time.
Yeah, agreed.
No, like the roommate, like I think she set up her computer to have a static IP too, and I think we used the same address.
Right.
Because like your first computer's 1, and then like your next device is 2, and so I did mine as 10. And I guess most people would do static IP, they jump. So she did hers as 10 too, probably, because every now and then I would get this random message, it's like, Windows has detected that there's another thing using this IP address on your network. It's like, son of a bitch.
Well, just switch it to 11. Reasons. Like, what is that? Open it up, change a number, and you're done?
Yeah.
Oh, are you being lazy?
Yeah, I was just lazy, though.
Bitch, you got no job. You have no
to remember
excuse.
10.
I don't want to fucking hear it.
So I just changed it to 13, and so far.
Oh, that's a lucky number.
Yes, it's what I masturbate to.
Indeed.
All right.
I need more 13s in my life. Not
Well,
year-olds, just 13s.
Chris has had plenty of time to join us at this point. So
if he jumps on,
Well,
he
the
jumps
show
on.
has just ended, so.
Who cares?
What?
Anyway, so, yeah.
Do you want to go ask him real quick if he's...
Nah. Let him jump on if he wants. So, you guys went and saw Cap App, right? The new one?
Yes.
Captain America, yes.
The Winter Soldier. And, yeah, no, it has pretty much everybody that you would expect to be in it. I mean, you got Chris Evans is back. You've got Sam Jackson as Nick Fury. Yeah, Scarlett Johansson's doing Black Widow. Really, the only like new big people they added to the movie that haven't been like around in the Marvel universe are Robert Redford plays Alec Pierce, and Anthony Mackie is playing Sam Wilson, and who's the Falcon. And he's easily like the best ad. I really, or to me anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Excellent actor.
But yeah, basically, this is, there's not really a way to talk about the movie spoiler-free. I mean, I guess the spoiler-free rundown I would give, like, in a nutshell, is that, to me, and I haven't seen it a second time yet, which I probably need to before I say this in all confidence, but to me, it's probably the best as a movie that Marvel has put out in their little, like, universe. Hey, Chris is on. We can add him to the call.
Yeah, it's definitely great as a sequel compared to the first Captain America.
Well, I've
it's
heard
an improvement.
I've heard it's just been getting these crazy ass reviews of like, wow, what the best superhero movie to date, etc., etc.
Yeah. I mean, I might even say that it's my favorite Marvel movie. I need to see it probably at least one more time before I say that, but it's definitely, like, I think I can say in all confidence that it is the best out of Marvel's bunch as a movie, especially as far as...
You mean it beat Elektra?
Yeah. Well, no.
Marvel.
Technically Elektra's not in the... I don't count that as Marvel.
Fox.
since it's Fox, but
Welcome, Corey. We're currently discussing Captain America, and it is
Thanks for the
the
recap,
spoiler-free,
dumbass. I don't need your help.
the spoiler-free part
so
of it.
right now we're just
Spoiler-free.
Spoiler-free?
About
Fuck that
We're,
shit.
no, we're gonna go into spoilers.
Stick
You
girlfriend,
can't
he can
talk.
deal with it.
Yeah, I mean you can't talk about it without spoilers. But I figure
Separate.
start with spoiler-free stuff. But no, as an action movie, it's even great. And they did this is probably the best we've seen Captain America beaten ass out of all the movies he's shown up in so far.
They gave him time to shine, for sure.
Well, no, I mean he seems like a super soldier
I think Bucky
in the
needs a
first
movie.
Captain America, but this one he's like Jason Bourne, fucking
Right, it's a different style of action that used. It's tighter choreographed, a lot more hand to hand, less guns. In the first Captain America, there's a lot of guns. He really only goes hand to hand a couple of times. You see him relying on the shield more. In this, the shield is part of his fighting style. It isn't specifically his fighting style.
Yeah.
You feel everything in this movie, every hit, every throw. I mean, stuff has weight to it, I guess is what you could
more
say.
visceral. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is just because what was his name? Joe Johnston that did the first one?
Yeah.
I mean, he just has a different style, and that's not
Like,
bad.
his is like popcorn, pulp, go get them action adventures. It's like a Rocketeer.
Which was perfect for World War II.
Right. I mean, it mimicked not only the type of movie made during that time, but also the type of comics that dealt with, the crackerjack action film,
Yeah.
as opposed to the political spy thriller that this one was.
Yeah, you got anything to add to the spoiler-free section before we move on, John?
No, we've covered everything that I can say without spoiling
John
anything.
can't even remember, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay, well, kind of moving into spoilers, the thing that I really loved most about this movie is that more than most of the other Marvel movies... Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, and you can probably prove me wrong in 2 minutes if you think hard enough. This one actually makes the first one relevant. Is the thing that I love the most about it. Because Captain America was, next to the bottom of the list. The Incredible Hulk was probably, the bottom of the list for, movies that were actually relevant to building the universe. I mean, really, out of the first Captain America, until you get the second movie, the only things that are relevant from it are, okay, hey, here's Captain America, and he got frozen, and there was the cube.
The quote-unquote death of Bucky. That was also
Well,
relevant.
so the Tesseract is really its purpose.
Yeah,
first
the first movie, the whole point is the Tesseract.
Well,
Because
actually,
then it pops back up in Avengers.
I will say this: the other thing that it has a lot of importance to is Captain America tends to be the nexus which around the Ultimate and also cinematic Marvel universe is built. They don't focus on it in the movies, but it's there, right?
Yeah.
Howard Stark works on the Super Soldier Project, which leads him to Stark Industries and leads him to founding S.H.I.E.L.D. because he and Peggy are the ones who found S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Also, Bruce Banner, trying to replicate the Super Soldier Serum in this version of the universe, helps turn him into the Incredible Hulk. The whole idea of this universe and heroes and villains from this universe all spawn from people trying to replicate Captain America.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he kind of serves as the bedrock from which all the rest of the universe spirals out for him.
Yeah,
It's the
as it
binding of the book. It's there holding everything together, but it's it's not really all out in the open.
I think they just released kind of the characters out of order. Ideally, you would have kind of wanted Captain America to be first, and then Incredible Hulk and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I don't think you need to be first. In fact, I think it does better that he's released after the fact because it gives you that. It's one of those ideas when you have a prequel where the prequel's made better by the fact that some stuff is happening, and then you get to go back and see what led to the things that are going to occur. It gives you that kind of that amount of meta-ness that you need in order to watch it in a certain way.
Well, I also think.
Because I mean,
also
Cap's
think
going to get frozen. Cap's going to become a super soldier. Hydra's there. Where did Hydra go? It's one of those things where you need a little bit of that future information so they can twist your expectations some, I guess.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think from a marketing standpoint, it was smart to release Captain America later, because if they had led with the first Captain America movie, if that was their first movie, I don't think the Marvel Universe would have taken off as much as it did.
Well, no, I also think that Captain America's just in generally really hard to write for. Like, you can't... If the script isn't good at all, if the storyline's not good, if everything's written poorly, like, that movie will flop.
Well,
Everything
Captain
about
America,
that has to be good. It has
I think
to be.
it's not so much that. Well, I mean, obviously anything's written horrible, it's going to flop. But
I mean, things can be written kind of half-assed, and if the movie's visually entertaining enough, it kind of makes up for it. It doesn't make it like a 10 out of 10, but it makes it
Captain
like
America
enjoyable.
falls under the same problem that people have with Superman, which is it can be hard to make a Boy Scout interesting. They get around that with Captain America, and there has been phenomenal stuff written by him. I mean, look at the Winter Soldier, right? Not just Winter Soldier this, but Winter Soldier, the storyline of the comics written by Ed Brubaker. He realized that Captain America works best, or works really well, however you want to look at it, when you place him in these more modern confines of what the military and espionage and these types of things are now. Because when you have him just fighting like
The Red Skull?
well, no, Red Skull even works,
Hydra.
but the way they retooled the Red Skull in the comics is that he comes back kinda ish, and he's basically doing what happens in a Winter Soldier movie. He's basically Pierce in the Winter Soldier movie. Which is why I was really considering for a second while watching it, since there had been a spoiler that they released a Red Skull toy with the Winter Soldier action figures, that maybe you're going to find out that Pierce was the Red Skull, which, spoiler, didn't happen. But I thought that would have been a nice touch.
Let's just blanket at this point. We're on spoiler alert, period.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, I mean,
we said.
that's like a reverse spoiler, though. I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
it was a spoiler that never even actually happened, so it's like an anti-spoiler.
But I thought that would have been one way they could have gone, because that would have kind of followed tracks of the comics a little bit.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I still stand behind, like, just doing a Captain America is difficult, as the Hulk is difficult. I think the Hulk, a good Hulk movie, besides the Incredible Hulk movie that I still think is really good, is really difficult because the Hulk is kind of a monster movie, and up until recently, we haven't really had a good monster movie. A good, like, Godzilla movie or something like that kind of monster movie, because the Hulk technically is a big monster movie, but there's more to it.
The problem with the Hulk is, and the hardest thing about the Hulk, is you have to have Banner to have the Hulk in a movie, because as much as you think it'd be fun to watch the Hulk beat the shit out of stuff for an hour and a half, it probably won't be, because you need that extra characterization. You need the difference between them. The problem is, when you're watching Banner, you're like, man, fucking this is boring. Let's go ahead and get back to the Hulk. But you got to find somebody who has the right mixture of things that you need, so that when Banner's on screen, you're not constantly wanting to see the Hulk. And when the Hulk's on screen, you don't get so tired of it that you want to see something else. I really think that Ruffalo did a phenomenal job.
I
agree. The best out the gate. Banner.
I look forward to seeing Ruffalo in his own film as a separate film. Hulk. I would love to see.
I want to see
maybe
the
Planet
Hulk
or something like that.
I want to see.
Well,
the
that's
Hulk
a rumor
movie
that they were going to do
after
Planet Hulk.
Yeah, I want to see
so
Planet
we'll
Hulk. I think the Hulk storyline being built in addition to a bunch of other movies would be good. To kind of get his intelligence up and all of that, and then let's shoot him out into space. And then we get Planet Hulk, and Planet Hulk is an excellent story. And I think that's when the Hulk would actually shine.
Agreed. I mean, in that setting, it's like, this is why you're here. This is your purpose. You've come to understand what it is to be the Hulk. And Ruffalo could do that.
The problem with the Hulk doing the movie is mostly kind of like what Chris was saying. I mean,
the problem with
it's balancing.
Hulk, though, is you don't have any Banner.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have Hulk the whole time. You wouldn't have like Mark Ruffalo at all. The problem making a Hulk movie is finding somebody who's good at shooting the dramatic parts of it, and someone who can also shoot decent action scenes. But yeah, I mean, Hulk's always been kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't character. Like, you know, when Ang Lee made the first one, you know, like years before Marvel decided to do its own thing, like everybody was, we want the serious Hulk movie, we want it to delve into his psychological issues, and we want it to like feel like a good drama, because that's always what's been part of the books, is the good drama part of it. And then they got exactly that, and they weren't happy because it wasn't the Hulk smashing for like 4.5 hours. And I have a feeling that if we ever got a Hulk movie that was him just smashing for 4.5 hours, they wouldn't be happy about that either.
Agreed.
Right. Getting back to Captain America, though, we could go down and talk about the cast and individual characters and some of the changes that it went through during this second film, like Chris Evans' character, Steve Rogers, how he's having to.
Why is this relevant?
Basically,
come on.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. How he's he's finding out he's having troubles taking orders. Things are changing within Shield. They're up.
How so? What do you mean things are changing in S.H.I.E.L.D.? Like, I haven't seen the movie, so talk to me like I'm a fucking idiot. Sell me on this movie.
It's not World War II black and white, Wes. It's espionage.
Yes. More espionage.
How much freedom are you willing to give up for safety?
Exactly. He's more having conflicts between, is this the right thing to do? He's even considering, and he meets and introduces Anthony Mackie's character, Sam Wilson, as the Falcon, but he's, a vet. He's somebody who's working alongside other veterans to help him, cope from the battlefield, and Steve is kind of coming from an old battlefield into a new one, and it's a big of a change for him. So he's kind of feeling those same questions. He's having the same questions as a soldier.
There's a juxtaposition, right? Because the only time he feels like he fits in, the only time he feels normal, the only time he feels any security is within the confines of the military and the army, because that's the only thing that's been a constant from when he went in and went under the ice and, moved on. But at the same time, it's juxtaposed against the fact that he feels alienated from it too, because it's not fighting the good fight. It's not the black and white enemy that they had before. It's not World War II.
Right.
We're spying on people. We're spying on everybody to protect them. Basically, it's the Edward Snowden NSA world that they've brought Captain America into, and he doesn't like it.
True.
But to be fair, they don't stick to their guns on that, but so much, because if they really want to stick to their guns to that, it wouldn't have been Hydra in charge of it. It would have just been literally normal, people who believe they were right, they were within S.H.I.E.L.D. and the government, and they thought that. But by making Hydra the bad guy, you get to steal. You pull back a little bit. They didn't want to be controversial.
I don't know that you do, though, because nobody's aware that Hydra's doing it, and they were still willing to sign up. They were still willing to be like, oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, we should spy on everybody because it's more important that nobody has any freedom, so that we can prevent like 3 people from dying.
I'm not talking about within the movie. I'm talking about within the viewer's reaction to the movie. It gives you a bad guy.
No, yeah, but
let me ask you.
I don't think it gives you a bad guy so much as it shows you how easy it is for those types of systems to be exploited by bad guys.
Agreed. The system's existing, and here's how easy it is for us to exploit the system.
The system, let's say the NSA doing its thing right now is run by completely benevolent people, but because that system exists, it would be infinitely easy for someone with not good intentions to hop in there and be like, oh, okay, I got this person's phone calls and this person's phone calls. I think that's more what it shows. It shows that these systems shouldn't really exist to begin with.
Right, the imperfection of the system itself. Yeah. All right, moving on. Sam Jackson, Nick Fury, West. Let
Pulp
you know.
Fiction reference.
Yes.
Let's mention that first.
Has a fake grave in the movie. I won't try to.
Oh yeah, we're gonna spoil the hell out of this. Sam Jackson gets shot. Yeah, that's right. Nick Fury dies.
He dies a few times in the comics, doesn't he?
He doesn't really die.
I know. If you know anything about the
Samuel
comics,
L.
you instantly know that Sam Jackson and Nick Fury is not dead.
Yeah, and it's not easy to figure out if you know anything about the movies and the contracts and stuff. I mean, Sam Jackson was signed on for 9 movies, and he's not done 9 yet. So his death in the movie is completely hollow if you know that.
Right. It shouldn't have scared you in a theater,
But his tombstone that says "The Path of the Righteous Man," and I just
set up on all sides.
yeah, I fucking started laughing out loud, and I think
did too. And like,
looked at.
I was like,
it was
Pulp
one
Fiction,
frame.
Pulp Fiction. Everybody looked around. They were like, "What the fuck's wrong with you, guy?" I was like,
They made a
lame.
joke.
Now
tombstone.
Nick draws some heat in the new film. He has to find out what's going on, find out how Hydra has infiltrated Shield, and so he, obviously is getting attacked from both sides. And being the man in charge, of course, you're the biggest target. So he has to basically fake his own death in order to be dead, so that he can then help investigate, find out what's going on behind the scenes, and help out our heroes, kill the bad guy.
Well, let me ask you
Anything
this.
else about Sam, other than he almost dies and gets all
Let me
kinds of
ask
stuff
you
happen
guys
to him,
this really
perforated
quick.
lung.
Is Shield positioned as a sub enemy in this? A sub villain?
Not really. It's Hydra within Shield, and that's why this goes back to the film. This one redeems the first movie and makes the first movie wholly relevant. Because until this movie came out, we were talking about, the Tesseract and Captain America are really the only two takeaways.
Here's the way it works, Wes. Do you remember in the first movie, the little German scientist guy that wore glasses that was the Red Skull's henchman, Ernest Zola?
I think so. It's been a while.
Okay. Well, if you remember Tommy Lee Jones, they capture him and they get him to flip the script, basically, to sell out the Red Skull. Well, if you're a comic fan, that Zola ends up becoming, in the comics, he gets his brain, his intelligence implanted into an android, basically, right? And so you're sitting there wondering, all right, well, when is this guy going to come back around? Well, you find out what happened is after World War II, and this is actually something that did happen in the United States, the United States recruited former German scientists, Nazis or otherwise, in the idea that, hey, we might as well have these guys on our side thinking up things, that
I
can
know
help
about
us. Well, in the Marvel universe, they did that with Zola. Well, Zola was still dirty, and basically what happened is they got Hydra going inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. They thought Hydra was dead, but Hydra became a giant sleeper cell, basically, inside of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I feel like they alluded to that a little bit in either Captain America or in Avengers. I can't remember. I haven't seen either movie in a while.
What happens with Zola is he dies, but instead of letting him stay dead, they basically turn him into an AI and make him a giant algorithm inside of a computer bank, so they can keep using him, or so he can use him. So from there on out, they create this algorithm, and basically it's a Hydra algorithm. And the idea is by looking at all of your past, they can predict what you'll do in the future. And this allows Hydra to target people that could possibly go against Hydra in the future, which leads to the whole plot about being able to kill all of them with their helicarriers.
Right. Going into the helicarriers real fast. That's why it kind of shows that it's the duality of both the Hydra and the Shield being the bad guys in this, in a way, in a sense, because Shield is a bad guy because they've developed these basically weapons of mass destruction, these huge helicarriers. They make 3 of them, and they have
doesn't he say it can kill 60,000 people a minute or some shit like that?
Yeah, it was 60,000.
But once again, you got to think about it. I mean, it's duality, but the whole idea is that all of those helicarriers, all of that whole plan, Project Insight, was basically a Hydra plan that they use S.H.I.E.L.D. to carry out. They got their people in top groups. It's not. Keep in mind, Hydra's not just in S.H.I.E.L.D. As you see, Senator Stern, Easter egg from Iron Man, the guy who's the dick in Iron Man 2, the senator that was questioning him, he's a member of Hydra. So Hydra's all in the government as well, not just S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
The idea is that basically they've spent the last 70 or 80 years, implanting themselves in every aspect of the military and the government,
like you do,
as sleeper agents.
Toby Jones, by the way, Zola, by the way.
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. I love Toby Jones.
But that's kind of what's going on, and that's the whole thing. Now, I will say the one thing I didn't like about the movie. I'll tell you about it. It's not I didn't like about it. I just thought it has no purpose. And that, ironically enough, was the Winter Soldier. You really could have just left him completely and utterly out,
Sebastian,
and it would not have changed the movie at all. I know that the idea was to give Cap, to bring the past back to the forefront and stuff, and I agree that should be something, but I didn't think that necessarily served the actual main plot of the movie. I thought they should have done that on its own as a Winter Soldier storyline, more like the comics did.
Well, I'd almost disagree there. I agree that it doesn't help the actual overall plot, but I think as far as character driving, with Steve Rogers' character, and possibly letting Bucky survive and become a member of the team or whatever eventually.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, he has the after credits scene. I mean, he's still around.
And that's why they put him in there, though. That's why they introduced him this early in a movie that really has nothing to do with him overall.
Yeah.
Which is that they needed him on the playing field for later.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. He's not treated like he's not given as much as he probably should be, given that the movie like carries his name in the title.
Right. I mean, it has nothing to actually do with him.
Yeah, I mean
it should have been like if it wouldn't have been right on the nose and a spoiler to the like twist to it, it should have been like should have been like Captain America: Rise of Hydra, or steal the fucking G.I. Joe title.
Well, yeah, but if you call it Rise of Hydra, if you call it Rise of Hydra, it like gives so much of the movie away.
That's what I said. It would take away the primary,
But sadly, I didn't even really I didn't put a whole lot of thought behind that. But yeah, I agree that's kind of a small. I mean, it's a small problem, but it doesn't actually weaken the movie.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't weaken the movie. Like I said, it makes me.
It's like exercise logic. Like you start to think about it, and you're like, "What?" But it's called Winter Soldier, and he's not really consequential.
Yeah, I mean, it really should have just been. It's not so much that it ruins that movie or does anything bad to that movie. It's just that I know now I'm not going to get that movie that has to do with Cap, unless they change it and make it the next movie. But it seems kind of after the fact. Then you have Cap hunting him down, which they do set up. But in the first movie, he's hunting him down because he has a hint that that's who it is, and there's no confirmation or anything.
Yeah.
And you're going through, and there's a lot of pathos and everything to it. I mean, it's really well done.
I think the ending scenes in the helicarrier with Steve Rogers and the Winter Soldier Bucky, I think they did a lot for the viewer as the audience to understand Rogers as a more of a character, more of a person. Like, there's a lot of characterization there. I mean, you could feel what was going on in those scenes. I mean, it was very emotive. I mean, I think he was great as a character. I mean, I think if Bucky hadn't been there, I mean, even he himself didn't do much because he only had 6 lines in the whole film. He really didn't even talk. He was just action.
He does do a little to develop Steve. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Right. The only problem I have is it feels like there could be a bigger movie having to deal with that subject because I know how important it is. Once again, because I've read the comics, and of course that's something you got to.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe who knows? Part 3, right? I mean, I would assume that Captain could probably afford a third film.
Yeah, and
Captain's gonna get a third film.
But see, I had different problems with the movie, and they're not big problems, but they're the problems that kind of arise out of the situation that Marvel's put itself in, making this huge cinematic universe where everything's interconnected. And and before I say that, they gave a shout out to Stephen Strange, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But no, my problems are okay, the whole time you're watching this movie and all this crazy shit's going down and helicarriers are in the air getting ready to shoot things. Okay, where's Hawkeye? I may have missed it. They may have mentioned he's in Turkmenistan somewhere and on a mission, but I don't remember hearing that.
And also, the type of team that they show Steve Rogers on is the exact same kind of team that Hawkeye would be on. It's almost like Steve has replaced Hawkeye. So you're right.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. If I had to guess,
well, the real reason
it was just a matter. I figured it was a matter of. Well, I figured it was more plotting wise in that was they really wanted to focus on. All right, you got Black Widow, and they didn't want to split the screen time between Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know there's logistical reasons, and there's probably, we don't want to pay Jeremy Renner for being in a movie for 30
I will say this, what I've heard, though, to assuage some of that, is they really wanted to, individual movies as side characters to a certain extent, they really wanted to focus on, giving a little bit of character development to people who didn't get character development otherwise. And for those ones that haven't seen stuff, like for the Avengers 2 when it comes on, supposedly 2 of the big people who get a lot of, screen time / they fucking
screen time,
have character development and whatnot, supposedly the Hulk and Hawkeye get a shit ton in Avengers 2 because of the fact that they haven't had like any in between movies to like deal anything with them.
That makes sense.
Aren't they also
Yeah.
supposed to show up periodically in Shield? The show.
Some of the
You
characters
had
have
Nick
like
Fury
Sif
show
has
up
been there.
once. Colby Smulders has shown up once. And,
As
had
Maria
a
Hill.
voice up there
Agent
twice.
Maria Hill.
Yeah. You've had you had Sif. You've had some stuff setting up potential stuff from here on out in the Thor universe. In particular, the fact that, spoiler alert, Loki is currently in the Odin seat. As the pretend to be Odin because he did something to Odin, killed him,
Yeah.
froze him away more than likely. Because that comes back in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode, which I want to kind of talk about, with the fact that they wanted to make sure Lorelai came back alive. They didn't want to kill her. And she said, oh, it's under Odin's orders she has to be brought back alive. Well, as you know, Odin isn't actually Odin, so that's because Loki wants to be able to use her.
Well,
So
yeah, I haven't.
I don't know. Like the whole thing. I get the logistics of why they don't throw these characters in the movies, but it's kind of it's a weakness that's inherent when you try to do an interconnected universe. Because the whole time you're watching,
it's not just you're right. But
in the first run of movies, they've not been together. Like it's a build up to making the Avengers, but after the Avengers have been around, I mean, like. The whole time in the helicarrier scene, you're just like, well, they could probably really use Iron Man's help here. Or
I will say this in regards to that, that's the same thing that goes on with comics. You read the Avengers comics, and you read Spider-Man or Iron Man, you're like, oh, where the fuck's everybody else helping out? Other than that's just kind of the nature of comic
especially when they like to do the apocalyptic, like end of time stories. Like it's all down to Spider-Man to save the world, except there's the X-Men and the Avengers and shit. Even the Defenders, they're out there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
somewhere.
just I try not to let that bother me because
maybe they're
that's just
in the can. You don't know.
That's the nature of comic books. I mean, and that just comes over from its original medium. I mean, you can't. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, it's a laughable weakness that I have to explore every time I get a chance.
To be fair though, they'll do the same thing that Marvel has done, which was that I'm trying to remember what it was. Thor and Iron Man supposedly they have said were taking place at almost concurrent. Thor 2 and Iron Man 3 rather were taking place at like pretty much supposedly concurrent times. That's why they weren't around to help each other supposedly.
Well, and Thor's often is like Asgard.
Yeah.
In his movie.
That's why he didn't come to help.
Yeah. Speaking of help,
that's why I just said like Iron Man. I'm like, where the fuck's Tony in this?
Although you do see Stark / Avengers Tower getting a visual name drop.
Yeah, when they're doing the targeting. Yeah.
Anthony,
I would really like to slow that down so I can see some of the different people that get targeted. Because you see Stark, it says Tony Stark or it says Anthony Stark if you read one of them quick enough when it pops. Which is targeting that.
Yeah,
and of course the name drop.
The name dropping earlier and dropping names. They're like Stephen Strange, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, they pretty much confirmed he's in Phase 3.
Fuck yeah, Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah.
That way I can't wait to hear people. They thought Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be odd for people to accept. Wait till they start talking about the mystical healing powers of the mist of Agamotto, and the black tendrils of Sararok.
I really hope they bring in Mr. Satan.
Really, all they're going to do is just going to buy like a booster pack of magic cards and use those for the name of spells. That's really what's going to happen.
It works. But Anthony Mackie as Falcon kind of replaced Iron Man in certain scenes. I felt also.
I mean, he's
a great job. It's just
he's the classical Cap sidekick, if you want to call him that. I like Anthony Mackie in general, though.
Yeah, I love Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, he did a great. I mean, the scenes where before they
made the mistake of not hiring Terrence Howard so they could fire him again. So that was nice.
No, I really like Anthony Mackie. I was glad they cast him as the Falcon because he.
One of my favorite movies I've seen him in.
Adjustment Bureau.
That's what I was going to say. Adjustment Bureau was the shit.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite parts of that movie.
That movie, I enjoyed that movie way more than I thought I would. I really did.
I did too. I was especially given that it got like really mixed reviews.
I don't know. It really worked for me.
But I enjoyed the hell out of it. But yeah, back to Captain America. Like Anthony Mackie, he was strong in this movie. Like for a side character, he comes in, he serves all the purposes that he's supposed to serve, but he's still like they do a good enough job of like making his character believable too.
Agreed. And they kind
and
of.
I thought he did. I think he did a whole lot with a fairly limited amount of screen time.
Oh yeah,
he did a lot of weight moving on that. And of course, the line, like somebody said, I do everything you can do. I just do it. I do everything he does. I just do it slower.
Yeah.
To remind that he's that well trained as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he is a soldier. Like him and Captain America could be the.
And as you find out, not just a soldier, but a very highly trained, like not just like a paratrooper. I mean, because I thought that was kind of a quick way to get the wings in there. Is the fact that that's what he was doing to begin with, was he using experimental wings,
Yeah.
back in the day. But
yeah, I thought that was smart on their part instead of having to like, well, Tony Stark designed these wings, or well, SHIELD has developed. Instead of having like some kind of like bullshit thread that they had to waste like 10 minutes of the movie explaining, they were just like, oh, that's what he used to use. Okay,
but bullshit
he already knows
threads
how to
are
do
how
it.
we make things go.
Yeah, I agree. That I really think it was probably. I say I'm torn, right? There's two movies in the Marvel Universe that are my favorite. It's definitely up there with the standalones. It's probably the only one that even comes close to it to me at this point. And I do have a huge soft spot for the first Captain America because I love that shit. My top three standalone Marvel movies are without a doubt.
Are we talking about Marvel
order,
movies that have been made?
The two Captain Americas and the first Iron Man. As far as standalones. I really, really love the Avengers, and I think it's right up there with Captain America as being, because there's two different things. Captain America is a better movie, cinematically, shot better, you know what I'm saying? But it's going for a different thing. They have a very specific theme they're dealing with, which is 1970s conspiracy espionage thriller. And the Avengers is a better superhero movie, I'll say that. And Captain America is just more is a better, like, espionage type movie. It's not even really the same type of movie, really. In fact, honestly, the best parts of Captain America to me were the first 2/3 of the movie when you're trying to figure out who's doing who and you know who's betraying who and going all that stuff. I enjoyed that actually better than I did like the big battle scenes at the very end, personally.
Yeah, and see that's part of why I liked it is because in a comic book movie, for you to make the non-battle scenes that much better, like I think that's an achievement. I mean, that's something the people that made this should be pretty proud of, that like the parts that aren't explosions and Captain America bashing people and the Falcon flying around, like the parts of the movie that are before that are as good if not better. I think that's pretty impressive. I mean, to me anyway.
Don't get me wrong, like my three of the Marvel Universe movies are not a testament on like which movies are better, because I agree, like those three movies that you mentioned, Corey, they're like phenomenal. But personally, like I really enjoyed the very first X-Men. I thought that...
Okay, see, I'm only talking,
we're talking about Marvel
Cinematic Universe. Those aren't in it.
Not every Marvel movie
Fantastic
ever made.
Four, Spider-Man, all that stuff. Those aren't in the. I'm talking about the movies made from Iron Man on forward that were made by Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones they've been doing to build their own story until they can finally get like Spider-Man and X-Men back from Sony and Fox,
which will never happen.
Yeah, never gonna happen.
Which one does the Incredible Hulk fall into?
No, that's in the Marvel universe.
They own it now.
Here's the movies that are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's Iron Man, all three of those, the Hulk, both Captain Americas, both Thors, and the Avengers. Did I miss one?
Nope. Of course, you're going to have Guardians of the Galaxy coming up. They have Daredevil back now, but that wasn't them that did the first one.
What about the Amazing Spider-Man?
No.
Nope. Still Sony.
Fucking.
In fact,
they'll have Doctor Strange and Ant-Man.
They actually.
No, they said they weren't going to make Ant-Man.
No, they're making it.
When
They've
did
already
that
cast
change?
it.
Yeah, Ant-Man's been cast.
After they did the release, they said they weren't going to make it. When did they change that?
They haven't. It's been going on for forever. Still, what's his face that did Shaun of the Dead doing it?
Huh.
Fucking goddamn director that did the Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Nick Frost. Is it Nick Frost?
No, not Nick Frost.
It's Nick Frost and Simon Pegg and it's whoever the fuck guy who makes those movies.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Anyway. Oh, that's not.
But anyway.
Oh, that puts First Class not in it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, the X-Men movies aren't in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because Fox owns those. Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright's doing Ant-Man. Paul Rudd is playing Scott Lang, which is the second Ant-Man, the one who took over after Hank Pym. However, supposedly Michael Douglas, I believe, has been cast to play Hank Pym.
Yeah, he was cast for Hank Pym.
He's going to be in it, so I'm curious to see how they're going to do the storyline for this.
Which is great, because if they play Hank Pym as, like, the drunk, sleazy, like, wife-abusing douche Hank Pym, then Michael Douglas is, like, a perfect fit.
He basically just has to play the, character he played in Ghost of Girlfriend's Past.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll get into reflective surfaces later.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Ant-Man and Doctor Strange and Guardians of the Galaxy are the only upcoming ones that I know for sure are good.
Supposedly, even though they haven't announced it, everybody said they've pretty much said guaranteed there's going to be a Doctor Strange, even though it hasn't been.
I don't think they would drop the name in Captain America if they weren't planning on.
Oh yeah, I just mean it's not actively.
Yeah, it's not an active project.
They don't have any of that shit.
Yeah, it's not an active project, but it's one they want to do.
They may be waiting to see how Guardians of the Galaxy does before they say, yes, we're doing it, or no, we're not.
I don't know, man.
Marvel can't do that. The way they got this shit lined up, they know what they're going to do ahead. I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to tell you right now that they probably already know what the third Avengers... Well, actually, I know they do. They know what the third Avengers is going to be about. They know what Phase 4 is going to be about, probably. They have to put these wheels in motion so they can do all their little tie-ins and shit. They're not in a position with the way they've set up their stuff that they can be like, oh man, that didn't do well. Let's go ahead and back off of this. The most they can do is maybe change the focus of whatever it is they're making a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, look, not only that, all right, you got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right, which now, see, that has a lot of potential now, in my opinion, because I want to see what they do now that S.H.I.E.L.D. is fucking gone.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. I'm like, well, they technically get rid of S.H.I.E.L.D. in this Captain America movie, so what does that do for the television series?
And the television show, because right at the end, about halfway through the last episode, Sitwell's in it, and, Victoria Hand, who is, if you know the comics, she's, kind of half-assed dirty anyway, so it wasn't too much of a spoiler or of amazement to realize that she might be the one who was, betraying people. Mm-hmm. She is in the comics. But, she comes up to him, she's like, Agent Sitwell, she's like, I just got a call from the Triskelion. You've been reassigned. You have to report back to the whatever the fuck it was. You have to report to the whatever the hell it is star that ship he's on at the beginning of Captain America.
Oh, yeah.
So you know that episode is taking place, right at /during, Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
So they got that lined up, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I would have 3 different Marvel movies now because we've been talking about other stuff. I've had time to think about the 3 standalones that I would choose out of their universe so far. Captain America is definitely there. The second Captain America is definitely in the 3. I would probably go with Thor: The Dark World and Iron Man 3 as my other 2. Iron Man 3 was my favorite Iron Man, and I know a lot of people will just fucking lambast me for that because they hated the way the Mandarin was treated, but I thought that was just cinematic.
Oh, but
genius.
See, have you bought the second Thor?
Yeah.
Have you watched the one shot on it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I've watched any of them.
It's called Hail to the King or something like that.
No, I don't think. Yeah,
I need to watch it because it's going to change your view of what actually happened in Iron Man 3.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Will it make me like it more or less?
It depends. basically what happens is, of course, it's following Trevor. He's in prison. Trevor being the guy who was the Mandarin.
Yeah.
And he's in prison and stuff, and this guy's coming to do a documentary, and it's like kind of funny. It's very played humorously until like the last 3 or 4 minutes, and then you find out that the guy who's doing the interview isn't actually an interviewer. In fact, he's a member of the 10 Rings, and the 10 Rings does exist, and it's a real terrorist thing. And the really
because they had the 10 Rings in the first fucking
right,
yeah.
But you didn't know at that time whether or not that was some shit that was his face, after Iron Man 3, whether or not that was something that Killian set up, and he was been running the shit the whole time, basically. But you find out, like, of course, the 10 Rings is confirmed as being real, but not only real, but that there is a Mandarin. And he's really pissed off that they fucking used his name, and he fucking is coming for their ass, basically. So
I don't know. To me, I don't know. That doesn't make me like Iron Man 3 any less, but I don't necessarily know that I agree with that. I think that's kind of a cheesy, like, fans didn't like it, we have to buy it back.
Well, I mean, I just think it gives them options. That doesn't bother me though, because that's just classic comic book shit.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, that just really smacks of, man, fans really hated that we didn't have a overtly racist Chinese guy with rings doing magic.
It's actually space magic.
Let's buy it back by saying that the Mandarin in Iron Man 3 wasn't the real Mandarin, and that there is one out there. And that, well, I don't know. I could see them using him in like a Doctor Strange movie, maybe. But.
Right. Well, it's not just that, too, because in the comics, those rings are alien artifacts that give powers, not real magic. So that ties it in with both Guardians of the Galaxy and Thanos and Thor and all that shit. So that works. I mean, I like the fact that, I like the way that they juju over on the Mandarin in the movie. I thought it made sense plot-wise. I have no issue with that. It didn't bother me at all. But I do like the fact that, just like in the comics, sometimes shit isn't what it seems on both fronts.
Yeah.
Okay, going back to Captain America, let's talk about the lovely ladies. We have Emily Van Camp as Kate, the neighbor of Steve Rogers, also Agent 13, as we discover. Then we have Kobe Smulders, Agent Hill, who plays a minor role in this one, I think. And then, of course, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow returns, and she's a major character in this film. So we'll start with Emily Van Camp as the neighbor. I think she did an okay job.
She exists solely to put her in the play for the next Captain America movie. She doesn't do anything in the movie. Not really. Agent 13 in the comics, in case you don't know, that ends up being basically kind of Cap's love interest. She is like Peggy's like granddaughter or niece or some shit. P.S. By the way, they don't mention that in the movie, and they might not use it, but in the comics, she is, in fact,
because it is a little bit creepy when you think about it. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to date the great-great-granddaughter of my ex-girlfriend.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, you look like someone I used to be in love with. I mean, it's...
And actually, she does look decent.
Captain America was going to be played by Woody Allen in the third movie.
That's right.
And of course, Kobe Smulders, we know her from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Maria Hill. Actually, also...
You know her from How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother, sorry. That's what I meant to say.
And Avengers.
Yeah.
She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for approximately 48 seconds.
Was she?
I think they gave her enough to do in this movie.
I did too. I mean,
most of the screen time needs to be divided between Captain America, the Falcon, and Black Widow.
Right.
I also like, by the way, that they set up a villain in this movie that nobody caught, I don't think. Or I'm sure people caught, but nobody that I know caught it. The guy who's on his strike team ends up turning against him. Rumlow, the one who's like, it's not personal.
Yeah, because
that's Crossbones from the comic. That's who becomes Crossbones.
He's all burned up and stuff. I was like, oh, hey, I kind of vaguely might remember this guy. I had to look him up, but yeah.
Crossbones is like a mercenary. He wears a mask, which surprisingly has crossbones on it.
Classic Marvel.
It'll probably be better done in the movies, but not all comic characters are winners, folks.
He actually is pretty cool. He ends up kind of teaming up with like this. It's a weird. I can't even begin to tell you the whole storyline, but like it ends up being him, They work for the Red Skull, by the way, in the comics.
No.
Red Skull is his trusty
exactly.
crossbones. Skull crossbones.
Well, no, there ends up being another little chick. I can't remember her name. She's like a daughter, and they call her like the daughter of the Red Skull because like it's a girl. It's like a teenager. She just had to be a teenager, and like she gets like brainwashed / all kinds of weird stuff. Becomes like a homicidal type killer, and it's like Skull. I think her name is Skull or some weird shit. I can't remember. But like they go around and they kill people and do all kinds of stuff. They end up being antagonists against Captain as well. Huge surprise. But I mean, also let's not forget they got Batroc the Leaper in there because that's what's up. Didn't give him the gay ass like yellow and green costume he had in the comics, but you know, hey, I'll take that. Yeah, you forgot Batroc was a real fucking villain in the comics, didn't you?
I did.
That's why he was in there. Batroc the Leaper. That was his name. Yeah. He likes to look. He liked to jump around and kick people. And you know how he fought Captain America in the movie? He jumped around and kicked him.
He jumped around and kicked him. Yeah.
It's classy.
Yeah. See, that's something Marvel has done really well with its movies is like sneaking little minor shitty characters in and making them less shitty than they were in the comic books, kind of.
Oh, by the way, also in the Hail to the King one-shot, it's really nice because it ties the Iron Man movies together because, you know, Trevor's in prison, right? Well, fucking What's-His-Face is also in prison. Hammond, Justin Hammer's in there. And, like, you hear him talking and talking shit and stuff.
Nice.
With Trevor, like he's in there locked up. He's like, "You gotta be shitting me," and he's giving that same line of shit to like some chick reporter chick. He's like, "You know, me and Tony, we were pretty close. We were like best buds."
the reason I liked Iron Man 3 the best out of the 3 Iron Mans is because in the other two in the Avengers, you get Tony Stark's like personality, but you don't get Tony Stark as Tony Stark as like. I mean, in the first one, you see him like inventing the suit, but he gets to kind of do it in his own time, and he's like hanging out in his basement. And the third one, he really has to like pull shit together and be Tony on the run, like, and it shows that he's like still brave enough to kind of like run into a terrorist compound, or at least what he thought was kind of a terrorist compound.
That's not what I would call brave. I've always considered Tony Stark as kind of just a bright idiot. He's like, I'm gonna go do this, and I'll figure it out after I'm in the middle of it.
He's if you listen to the comics, he considers himself what they call a futurist.
Yeah.
And what that means by that is he's so fucking smart that basically he knows what he's going to need and what people are going to need before they even know it. Like he's so damn smart, he's almost psychic, basically. And I don't mean literally, but I mean he's that's the whole idea, is that he knows what people are going to want and need before they know what they want or need, which is why he's so good at being planning, inventor and head of a company or whatnot. But the idea is like he's that far thinking.
Yeah, I mean
he sees where things are going.
He and Reed and Banner are like the three, the holy Marvel trinity of like smart people.
Yeah.
Well, and Hank Pym to a lesser extent.
Yeah.
I go into Black Widow. Scarlett Johansson back in this one. She's going to be around.
Okay.
We had kind of overlooked her a little bit.
No.
Yeah,
but
they do stuff with her. I wish they had done more with her. Like the biggest, I don't know, overall thing they do with her is they kind of build this like weird. On the one hand, it's almost like brother and sister, but then on the other hand, it's like she's kind of interested in Steve, but it's constantly trying to pawn him off on other chicks.
Well, I think part of that is, I think the brother-sister relationship's there. I think it's professional, but I think the thing is, the idea is that she's not in love with him, but she is because he's Captain America. He's the ultimate guy. You can't help but fall in love a little bit with somebody who's that genuine and that nice and everything. But it's not like romantic love, if that makes any sense.
It's a fascination. I think Scarlett, or her character rather, she doesn't let anybody in. I mean, she's isolated, and she was able to let him in because she quite possibly could genuinely trust him. Because I mean, who else could you trust except for Captain America? I mean, he's the freaking Wonder Boy.
What I like that you got to see in this movie was, she always talks about not being trusted and things like that. But in this movie, there's a couple scenes.
Yeah, like
where
during
you
the
get to
truck
see
and when they're on the bed.
You get to specifically see that she really does get hurt when somebody she thinks actually trusts her doesn't completely trust her. One at the very beginning with Captain America, after he's accusing her of like jeopardizing the mission or whatever, and like he walks out and leaves. There's this look on her face where like you can see she's disappointed that she's like disappointed him basically, and then towards the end when Nick Fury's alive and she didn't know that he was alive, and everybody's like, well, why did you do this? He's like, well, I didn't know who I could trust. Which implies he didn't know if he could trust her completely. And like she has this look of like utter devastation for like a second or two, like in her eyes and everything she conveys it. And I thought that was really interesting because like, you know, that's such an issue for her when she finds out like the one or two people she thinks actually do trust her, maybe don't trust her completely. You know, that's issues she has basically. Like once again, they hint about all the stuff she's done.
The red in her ledger.
Well, I mean, they hint about all the stuff she's done, and like, you know, if you do this, your stuff's going to be out there too. And she decides to still do it, showing that you know that's her moving forward. I guess you could say.
Right, and like I said, they're trying to progress her character. She's had enough film time throughout the films.
She's actually requested, from what I understand, I don't know how serious it is. I heard she's actually requested that Marvel give her a standalone. She really wants to do a standalone with that character.
Okay.
I would watch a standalone with Black Widow. If it's well done, it could probably be just as interesting with political intrigue and shit.
Yeah.
And especially the way they present her, because she has that wry sense of humor. She's not played straight completely.
Yeah.
I would watch it.
I mean, it has to be better than Salt.
Agreed. Sorry, Angeline. Sorry. Robert Redford, I mean, he's honorable mention there, I guess.
Robert Redford was in there doing that. I mean, I think he did a good job what he had to do, but I mean, he was in there for really one purpose, and that was one, a little bit of star power brings, and it was to evoke that 70s style political thriller. You know, All the President's Men, 3 Days of the Condor, all that stuff that he was in.
Yeah, I mean, shit. It's
the face.
It's a whole lot like Spy Games,
genre, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and. Granted, he's not playing the good guy in this one, but
or it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but no, and I think Robert Redford was probably more than willing to sign up based on the plot because he tends to fall into a lot of movies that have like political, messages and stuff, even if they're not like overt. He kind of like signs up for that.
I think he's reached a point in his career, more so really than necessary, where he's just going to do whatever the fuck he feels like doing if it interests him.
Yeah. I
mean, look at he did that movie All Is Lost, which a lot of people were really expecting him to get an acting nod for at the Oscars. Didn't get nominated, and he basically said the reason why. He's like, you know what? He's like, it doesn't hurt my feelings. He's like, the simple fact is, he blamed, I don't remember if it was Lionsgate or whoever. Not blamed him, but he's like, well, he's like, there was no advertising behind the movie, really. He's like, there was no campaign for the awards. He's like, so it's not a surprise that I didn't get nominated. He's like, because there's a lot of politics involved in all this stuff. Is basically what he said, which is true.
Yeah, and I didn't honestly know about the movie until it was out, like on DVD.
Well, All Is Lost.
Yeah.
Actually, I did, but I mean,
I had managed.
I was not like there was anywhere I was going to go see it at. One more thing, then, since I can't have Wes actually being right. Mention one after credit scene. How about the one that directly ties into the Avengers because it was directed by Joss Whedon?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Baron von Strucker, the head of Hydra in the modern age, so to speak, and of course. We can't say mutants because Fox has that trademark for them. So what do we have? We have the Age of Miracles instead of the Age of Mutants. So I'm curious to see if we're going to get some mutants coming up in our Marvel movies, and they're still being called mutants. They're going to be called Miracles.
Miracle babies!
Speaking of which, two miracles that we saw at the ending.
That would be what I was leading to, John. Appreciate that.
Oh, I left it for you.
Way you did there.
You're welcome.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So for anybody who's slightly retarded or doesn't ever watch the news or know anything at all, the two miracles we see are Pietro and Wanda Maximoff, who, outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, are the daughter and son of Magneto, also known as Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch. And
is Polaris at all mentioned?
Avengers: The Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron.
What was that?
Is Polaris at all mentioned?
No. They actually have not ever decided 100% whether or not they're going to make her the daughter of Magneto.
Yeah, she's one of those characters that's like the whole like Cable and Strife thing that went on for like 20 years. Which one's the real Scott Summers, Jean Grey child, and which one's
More
the
importantly,
clone?
who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
eventually it just got to the point in the comics where, like, does it fucking matter anymore? Like, really? We don't care.
Tyler's the one.
But
that
yeah,
matters.
Polaris is like, her powers are like Magneto's, so you would think she's his daughter, but, like, they keep, like, going back and forth on it.
Right.
To the point where you're just like, oh, who gives a shit? She's magnetic. She's not as cool as Magneto. Who cares?
And
Move
she's like,
on.
and her other little thing is like she's psychologically unstable.
Yeah.
Because they had a big deal with her. One of the last times I was reading the Avengers when they decided to send the Avengers into space, dealing with the Shi'ar and shit, or is that they call them the Avengers H team?
Hey, don't mess with Gladiator's bitch and Mohawk and the fact that he's like purple space Superman or
Do you
whatever.
do you know who was on that Avengers team? Let me give you this gem. Polaris. Ooh, starting off good, isn't it? Rachel Gray. Yeah. Fucking
The X-Men
Havoc.
rejects. That's
Havoc.
what you're calling.
Havoc was on it.
Okay,
Havoc,
so basically X-Men rejects. This isn't even a legit.
Oh no,
They're just like
I
X-Men
haven't even
reject
I haven't
characters.
even got to the worst part yet.
I love me
Fucking
some Havoc.
goddamn Proud Star, or whatever his name is. The guy
Oh
who's
my
like
God.
the Indian Wolverine. Like he's like super strong and has regeneration abilities, but doesn't have claws, so he uses a knife.
Yep.
And I think he can fly for some weird ass reason. I don't know.
Ah, shit. The Avengers X-Men rejects. Like, that's their subtitle. Oh my god, this is terrible.
But like they were up there, and it eventually tied into like the very end of like the Annihilation like Omni series, where they had like the 3 Annihilation like miniseries and all the stories in between it. It tied into that, so it ended up having a purpose supposedly. But man, does it remind me why I hate reading X-Men comics.
Yeah, no, that fucking the Shi'ar always reminds me of that damn video people put on YouTube, the "I'm the Juggernaut bitch" thing, where they take the X-Men cartoon, they dub over it, and like at the very end when Gladiator comes down and he grabs Juggernaut and he's like, "Who's this galactic looking motherfucker?" And I'm just like. That part always makes me laugh. I just can't, like, and then he, like, throws Juggernaut, like, 18 miles away. It's just, like, the last thing is, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Yeah, I actually read the comic on that right after Juggernaut met Gladiator. Who was it?
I forget what it was. Gladiator's weakness is what? Self-confidence, isn't it? Is that
There's
what his weakness is?
some shit like that.
Like he can beat you as long as he thinks he can beat you, but as soon as he doesn't think he can beat you, he can't. It's like the Joel Osteen Ministries hero. Or Tony Little. It's the Tony Little hero.
Gladiator, well, I read The Traveler's Gift, so I have more confidence than you. Oh, no.
Here's a self-help book. To get his power back, he reads self-help
Yeah,
books.
except instead of Superman, like, flying up to the sun to get recharged, he has to fly to, like, Deepak Chopra.
All right. And for those of you who want some little Easter eggs for
What are you
Captain
doing?
America, the little notebook that he pulls out for like
No.
two frames.
Oh, I love that.
I Love Lucy.
Yes, here you go,
Moon
here you go.
Landing.
Hold on.
Berlin Wall Up and Down. Steve Jobs. Apple. Disco. Thai
Fun fact,
food.
by the way, John, that list changes depending on where in every country there was a different list. So in
I know.
Canada,
I've got the
Okay.
different list.
All
Star Wars crossed out / Trek. Nirvana, the band, Rocky 2 ? Trouble Man, the soundtrack, as suggested.
Yeah, that's what he
by-
writes down after
Right.
Falcon tells him.
There's a TV show, Sherlock, Moon Landing, Beatles, World Cup Final from 1966, Sean Connery, just Sean Connery, Nirvana the band, Rocky, and Rocky 2.
Don't make me slap the shit out of you.
So there you go.
Slap him.
Yeah, of course, you gotta have Sean Connery. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, the two single things I loved most, like as far as just quick shot thrown in things in that movie, were his book and the Path of the Righteous Man quote.
Oh, Ezekiel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like what was it that she fucking Black Widow makes a reference. She's like, no, I got that one.
Oh yeah, War Game. She's like, would you like to
play a game? Yeah,
it's a movie. He's like, yeah, I saw that one.
that's what I was thinking of too. I was like, yeah,
because I made the War Games joke.
War.
Yeah, I made the War Games joke before she did. I'm like, no, don't play on the computer. And fucking the other thing that they do that's funny is when she's like, they push Sitwell off the building, and she's like,
Into a car.
they're like, you need to. She's like, why don't you ask so and so out? And he's like, is that the one that has the lip thing, the piercing?
I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah, I'm not ready for that yet.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it's like I was.
Here you go.
That's cool.
Here you go, Gladiator, who was actually made as a answer to Superman lamely. That's why his real name is Clark, which is a combination of Kal-El and Clark. No joke, that's his name. Kallark. Clark.
Callark.
Callark.
Oh, shit sounds like a horrible off-brand of cereal.
Here you go. Powers and abilities. Ready? Gladiator possesses a number of superhuman capabilities as a result of his unique alien physiology, including superhuman strength, capable of shattering a planet. You heard that right.
Yeah, okay.
Superhuman speed, stamina, durability, capable of withstanding explosion equivalent to a supernova, reflexes, heat vision, stated as hotter than a star, frost breath, and warp speed flight, measured as 100 times the speed of light. Gladiator's abilities increase and decrease in accordance with his level of confidence. He really just got to have a good wingman with him.
So all you have to do to sabotage him is hire him like a space prostitute that then like runs him down afterwards.
Or you could just be like, dude, seriously, a Mohawk? Come on, man.
How 1988
Mohawk?
Yeah.
What X-Men team were you on again? Oh, wait.
You just have to talk shit to him.
You work for who? Are you part of the Shitar Empire? Is that what's going on?
You only shatter a planet.
Isn't your goddamn queen a bird? What?
Yeah. You've never made it with your queen, right? But the dude in the wheelchair?
Dude in the wheelchair, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm confident he has a bigger dick than you do. It ain't all broke down there.
God, Gladiator sucks.
Ask me hey, you remember the one time they put you in oh, wait, no, that was Russell Crowe.
No, that was Russell Crowe.
They named it after you and didn't even ask you to star. So sad. It was your purple skin and a mohawk.
Hey, man, you know who else had a mohawk in the Marvel Universe, right? Storm.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I gotta give her credit for rocking that mohawk.
Actually, that's my favorite Storm look, is when Storm had the punk rocker mohawk.
1980s leading to them Morlocks in the sewer.
Yeah, I like that Storm.
Well, she got it back too also when she was, what was it, in Future, 2099. Didn't she?
Oh, we thought you meant something matter.
Yeah, no, nobody cares about that.
Well,
fun fact though, I'll give you this though, West. There's actually a big miniseries coming out at the end of this year for Spider-Man. It's called Spider-Verse or something like that.
Oh God, that looks so stupid.
It looks hilarious though, because it's every version of Spider-Man that's ever existed has to band together to fight something. So it's not even different Spider-Man. It's literally just different versions of Peter. It's Peter in the Iron Spider armor. It's Peter in the Scarlet Spider outfit. It's Peter in the Blacks. I mean, it's
and it's even the other Spider-Men too, the people that aren't Peter, isn't it?
Yeah, anybody who's ever been Spider-Man, basically.
Yeah, it's every version of Spider-Man that has ever existed,
including the ones in the Ultimate Universe.
Even every version of Peter.
Yeah, supposedly. I guess.
And it just sounds to me, that's when I see some shit like that, three things go through my mind. One, horrible, horrible marketing ploy because people will buy this shit out of morbid curiosity. B, this writer thinks he's a fucking hero. And 3...
Well, I mean, it's Dan Slott writing it. He's actually a pretty fucking badass writer.
Yeah, and apparently he's been told he's a badass writer if he thinks he's a hero enough to make this shit even, like, make sense. Man, you can't make shit like that make sense. You just can't. Like, there's no real way to make it make sense.
Turtles forever, that's my argument.
Well, I'm sure what'll probably happen is what's happened every other time that does something like that, which is you have all of these, and you'll have a bunch of them that end up as fodder or just get killed out of the way really quick, and it'll probably come down to like maybe 4 or 5 or 6 different versions of the Spider-Man, and then there's going to be some kind of deal, you know, one of them will be bad or dirty or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of the standard way these things go.
Well, yeah, but my problem is like
I would buy it and watch it. I would buy it and read it just because I love me some Spider-Man. And the only time you're going to get any type of big crossover with Spider-Man is something like that, because otherwise he's just in the Avengers or he's just in whatever. You know, I mean, because of the nature of who he is, he doesn't get a lot of shit like that. He actually gets left out a lot.
I'm not as big a Spider-Man fan as you, but I've always enjoyed Spider-Man more when he's a part of the Avengers or when he's like tooling around with the Fantastic Four.
Well, I really liked him when he was with
Hold on. Hold on. I wasn't recording yet.
God damn you, West.
You are listening to the Nerd Method Podcast with West,
Chris,
and Chris.
Thank you for listening. If you want to get in contact with us, you can find us at the Nerd. Oh, fuck!
Super professional.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
You can find us at thenerdmethod.com, which is our also blog site, but it will have our social media as well: Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+. So like us, subscribe, share our stuff. We appreciate it.
And if you would like to email us, you can email us at nerdmethodpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks very much for listening.